After just almost about 2 decades of running around playing the fiddle for a living and playing all this 300-year-old material, I just kind of said, I want to write my own songs, and I'm.
Hey everybody, welcome back to this fall back to school edition of Catamoments with me, Molly Stone, the Associate Director of Live Performance at Catamount Arts. And Catamoments is my chance to come to you on behalf of all of the staff at Catamount Arts and let you know what's going on at the Art Center. Now, I would be remiss if I did not remind you that our Art Center is still closed. That said, we still have several events going on this fall. And just to name a few, this weekend we have the part 2 of Hey St. Johnsbury, Getdowntown. Now this event is sponsored by the Levitt Foundation based out in LA and is in partnership with Catamount Arts, the town of St. Johnsbury, Discover St. Johnsbury, St. G Academy, Rec Fit, and NEK Gravel. So if you join us this Saturday, you can take a bike ride on the trail and join us for the grand opening of the Three Rivers Trailhead in downtown St. J. And then take in 3 wonderful performing artists, all from Vermont, spread throughout downtown St. J at different times at different venues. So you can get more information on the Get Downtown event by going to catamountarts.org. And also coming up in less than a week, we have an event in Littleton, New Hampshire. And this is an evening with Zach Nugent with original members of the Jerry Garcia Band. Now, this event is being sponsored by Chudder's and Schilling Beer Company and is presented by Catamount Arts and the Loading Dock. So get your tickets now for that show. You can get tickets at catamountarts.org. Also coming up in October, Catamount Arts is trying out a new concept for safe concert watching, and that's called a vertical concert. So in partnership with Burke Mountain, we are going to utilize those balcony rooms. So folks, you can get your room, an overnight stay, purchase your overnight stay at Burke Mountain, and then watch a concert from the safety and privacy of your balcony. And that concert will feature Kat Wright with her full band, and opening up for Kat is Brett Hughes. We will also have patio tickets available for that show, only 150 total. So get your tickets now by going to catamountarts.org. Again, that event is October 17th. So we do have several things going on. It's not the same as it once was, but we are plugging along. And our staff gets together every single week and talks about how we can continue to engage folks with the arts in the Northeast Kingdom. So stay tuned for more and continue your support of the Art Center. Thank you so much to everyone who have supported us all throughout the summer and going forward. So next up is my interview with Emerald Rae. Emerald is a fiddle singer. She sings while fiddling, which is extremely difficult. And she has made a living out of doing this. She is from Gloucester, Mass. originally, but she has brought her talent and art and has settled now in Vermont. So you can check her out on Saturday in downtown St. Johnsbury at the Get Downtown event. She will be playing at 4 p.m. So my interview with Emerald is coming right up, and I will see you this Saturday. Hey, Emerald, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Molly. How are you doing? Thanks so much for having me on. This is great.
Yeah, I am doing fine. It's beautiful outside, and it's just a gorgeous September day. And you look beautiful, by the way, in your reds, and you remind me of what I'm seeing outside my window right now. So yeah, thanks for joining me as well.
Oh yeah, this is wonderful, and I'm right there with you. Fall is my favorite season, so I'm just in heaven right now. And I'm a new Vermonter. I've only been here for a little bit over a year, so I have to say Vermont fall is just the best thing in the whole entire world. So
it is. Yeah, no lie. So yeah, I would love to start right there because I have read that you are from, is it Gloucester, Mass?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think I've told you this in the past that I am obsessed, not obsessed, but I have this fantasy about Gloucester, Mass, and just those fishing towns. I don't know where it comes from. But tell me about where you come from and how, and just that influence.
Yeah, you're not alone, and I'm obsessed with it also. It's Gloucester, Massachusetts is where I grew up. It's, America's oldest seaport. It's a, a really historic fishing village. And, my family, were either fishermen or worked on fish for generations and generations. So, it's been a big change going from the seaside to the mountainside, even though I find the mountains just as majestic as the ocean. It's just in a different way, but I do, of course, there's that part of me that really misses being by the ocean for sure. But Gloucester's this really tremendously interesting little place because there's all this, being a seaport, brings in all kinds of things, including art and music. And there's a tremendous history of art and music in that town too. So, it's a really interesting place to grow up surrounded by all those things. And of course you can't help being surrounded by, the beautiful seascapes and everything. So the first track on my album that I released a couple years ago is called Deep Salt Sea. And it's kind of a little pastiche-y, almost like a bit of a modern sea shanty, sort of. I don't know. It's like an Emerald Rae style sea shanty with me playing the fiddle and singing at the same time, which is what I do. So, I just love Vermont so much. This has been such a wonderful place to be too, especially during the pandemic. This was a good choice.
Yeah.
Really picked a good pandemic spot by accident. So.
Excellent point. I mean, you said that you've been here a little bit over a year.
Yeah. And just the difference in the way the pandemic's been compared to, at home, visiting and talking to my relatives and everything. Like Vermonters were so ready for this. It's like everybody was just ready to hunker down and get stuck in for the rest of the year. So, and that's what I've been doing too. It's been a really a very interesting time in our industry. Of course, it's been a very, scary time too. But there's so much to be grateful for also, like having a huge, big reason for everybody to step back and take a look at what's been going on and what's working and what's not working, and giving everybody a chance to have a little break and see where we're at really before we jump back into what was before. I think this is a good chance to fix some things. So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've described it in the past as a pause. And, it's really hard for me to speak about the pandemic in any positive sense without pulling back and being like, it's a silver lining to something that's really been horrific for many people, and especially, not especially us, but especially this industry. The creative sector, venues, performance artists, all those folks are getting hit hard. And we're talking right now after an announcement was just made that the Metropolitan Opera is not opening for the duration of 2021.
Yeah.
And that's a red flag. So, on that note, I'm glad you brought up the pandemic. And in that, we just can't speak about anything that we're doing lately without bringing that in. And I look behind me and I see, we're talking about the fall. I started doing this series of interviews with artists back in March, and we're still doing it from home. So we do have to dig in, and we have to change, and we have to, do what we do, which is be creative. And so you are creative, and I would love for you to tell our viewers and listeners what it is you do and how you started doing it.
Well, it seems like a weird thing to do. It's not that odd. There's a few more of us that do it, but I am a fiddle singer. So I play the fiddle and sing at the same time. There's actually a big tradition of this in fiddle music, but it's kind of thrown around a bit between Cajun music and old time music and a little bit of French music. And it's nowadays, it's becoming a thing for singer-songwriters to do. Well, a few of us to do also. So I come from the, traditional music world. I grew up playing a lot of Scottish music. I was a Scottish fiddle champion and all that kind of thing when I was growing up. and played a lot of Irish music also in Boston and New York. And but then after just almost about 2 decades of running around playing the fiddle for a living and playing all this 300-year-old material, I just kind of said, I want to write my own songs, and I'm moving even closer towards just writing more modern, almost popish kind of things right now, which is very funny. So the creative process, I'm going forward in time now, or living my life backwards like Benjamin Button. I don't know. I can't tell.
That's awesome.
I feel like my creative process is going backwards somehow in a weird way. But yeah, so I play the fiddle while I'm singing. So I draw a lot on other accompaniment techniques. I draw a lot on, guitar techniques and other kinds of things. So there's a lot of tricks and weird things that I do with the fiddle to make it sound like a whole band. Mm-hmm. And it's been really fun to limit myself to this particular thing so that the creative side can really come out. And I now have a little bit of a stomp box too. So I have some foot percussion going on at the same time. And that's been an interesting journey too. That's kind of new to the process. So I'm playing 3 instruments at the same time, basically, which is not nothing. It's hard and super fun.
Well, I can barely walk and chew gum. Actually, I'm pretty good at that, but I could never, ever, ever sing and play the fiddle. And that is it's amazing to me, doing all those things at once and then getting your foot involved in keeping a tempo. Actually, I read in your bio that you were or are a dancer.
Yes.
Does that help with this art form?
Yeah, absolutely. I have in my youth,
way back.
I did way back in my youth. I did do things like fiddle and step dance at the same time and things like that, which, it's all muscle memory. I don't want to burst the illusion, but it's one of those things where, you just practice until you can do it. And some of us are crazy enough to actually do that, which is in itself insane. So, but it's all of the dancing in traditional music and it's Irish and Scottish music. The dancing is so intertwined with it. Mm-hmm. It's actually a really natural thing to do both of those things at the same time. And being a one-woman band that I am now, it's really great to have those 3 things together. Three is a good number. It's kind of like a one-woman power trio, or at least I'm aspiring to be. And it's been really fun to play around with all of those things, to play around with the different elements and how the percussion works with the fiddle accompaniment and having the singing sailing over the top. It's a good challenge. I like challenges and I like learning new things. I get bored if I'm not learning something new or pushing myself. So, there's really no other option.
Yes. Well, my favorite number is 3. You sound like a goddess to me. And I cannot wait for our town, our people up in St. Johnsbury to get to witness this out on Railroad Street, which brings me to why we're speaking is that we are hosting a live event, which is really odd at this time of a pandemic, but we are doing a live event downtown St. Johnsbury outdoors, and you are one of 3 artists that is coming to join us. And you will be playing on Railroad Street in downtown St. Jay on Saturday. And I'm just super excited to have you there. And, because you're so dynamic. And I think that, representing all those 3 talents in one powerful female is just something that we really cannot wait to see. So thank you for coming on board for that.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm so blessed to be there. And like I said, before we got started here, and I'll thank you publicly, Molly, thank you for everything that you're doing, putting this all together. Cause things have been crazy, as we're saying, for our industry, and it's been very, very crazy for people like you who are presenting and promoting and putting on these gigs. And please, hats off, kudos to you for everything that you're doing. And I feel so lucky to be one of the few artists getting one of these slots too, because shows have been limited and tickets have been limited, and I feel so excited to be able to go do my job.
Yay!
Yay, I can go to work. Because we've all been doing a lot of live streaming, which is great, but there's just, it's so nice to meet and connect with people. I played in Woodstock, Vermont a few weeks ago, and that was amazing, and sold out ahead of time, and everything, as all these gigs have been. Like, people are so excited. I think one thing that's become absolutely apparent during this time is that music is really essential. It's considered essential to life. And I think that's something that I personally needed to hear from people like that. That has just made me so tremendously grateful for, the experience we're having in general, is to see how, people are lining up for these gigs. People are driving for hours to come to these gigs and everything. So I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to go out and play. And I'm so grateful that people want to come see music and everything. It's so cool.
Well, folks in the Northeast Kingdom love their music. They love their art. And so they are so dedicated to the shows that Catamount Arts puts on and to all the shows that are in the area. And it truly does, live and breathe the arts up and around St. Johnsbury. So having you there is just going to be so wonderful. And I do want to end not on a sad note, but a note that, or I want to touch back on something you just said, which is art and music is essential. And I think that this pandemic has asked of us, or, our artists have asked of their fans and of people of, just people who support the arts or enjoy the arts, I should say, to think about it in a different way, that it is essential, and you don't miss those shows until they're gone. And who knew that we would have them completely gone? So this is a good opportunity for people to recenter themselves and see where art and music fit into their life. And if you could have, give one message to folks out there who are wondering how they can help, is there something that you would say to people right now, how they can help artists and venues, or, just the art form in and of itself?
Well, that's a tricky question. That is something we need to make easier for people. And I think the problem with that is a huge lack of infrastructure, and a very I could talk on that subject for about 6 hours probably. That is a huge problem. I would say to people, contact the artists. Like, just reach out, because what we're missing is the infrastructure for them to support. There's tons of people who want to support music and have the means to do so, and there's tons of artists who are sitting there, like myself, saying, okay, I need to do this, but I don't have this thing, or there's something, or I need a few more CD sales or something or other. But that's something that social media has, gone ahead and sort of democratized the whole thing, so that, but what it's doing from our standpoint is making it so we're kind of giving a lot of content away for free, but there isn't really an easy way, especially for money, to come back towards. So, I would say, get in touch with the artists. Old-fashioned fan mail is always appreciated. It's just saying, if you want to contact the artist and say, hey, I love your work, that's amazing. If you want to reach out and say, is there something that I can do to help you? Is there a way I can put on an outdoor show? Is there something I can do? Is there, for people who have more to give, it's like not every artist has a Patreon or something like that. You could say, is there something I can help you with? Is there a piece of equipment that you need to do these live streams and don't have? Is there, I would just say the more conversation there is one-on-one between the audience and the artists, the better, I think. And platforms like Patreon are cool, but it's not always exactly what the artists needs, and it's not always exactly what the patron needs either. We're experiencing at the same time, we're experiencing like the drop off the cliff of CD sales. Also, we're all just kind of going, should we print CDs? I don't know. Like, so, and that was our main, merchandise bread and butter. So, contacting an artist and saying, I love what you do. I would love to buy a coffee mug. Like, just to keep the combo going. If there's something that you want, if there's a way that you want to contribute that could be, and you could, come up with some kind of, reward or something that you want, like, go for it. Everybody's, down to talk to their people and keep the conversation going. And so, we've had a huge drop off in the middleman. So I say, just go for it. Does that answer your question?
It answers my question and brings up so many more that we could talk about, like you said, for hours. And this is a conversation that people in the arts are having on a daily basis right now. And so I'm super grateful that we could chat about it briefly. And folks can talk directly to you this Saturday in St. Johnsbury. So it'll be a great way to connect. And that's what we do at Catamount Arts, is as presenters, we bring in artists, pay them fairly, and present them in a safe way, especially right now, where you want to be safely performing, and being in touch with people again. And so hopefully, as we move forward, we can have those conversations and find ways that it is equitable for everyone. And we can go back to a new normal that is fair and that everyone can thrive. So, on Saturday, I cannot wait to meet you. And thank you so much for joining me today, Emerald. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you so much for everything. And thank you for this lovely chat. And I look forward to seeing you on Saturday. It's going to be fantastic.
Thank you so much to Emerald for joining me. She is truly a goddess. So come check her out. Come check out all the artists that are going to be downtown and get your tickets for those 2 upcoming extremely exciting concerts. Zach Nugent on September 30th and Kat Wright on October 17th. And until next time, stay well.
Catamount Arts would like to thank these sponsors for their continued support.
Here we go. Act natural.